Pittsburgh Steeler fans, woohoo! Welcome to Tales from 2 a.m. I know it might be 9 a.m. Eastern on your clock if you're on the West Coast. It is probably 6 a.m., but in our hearts and minds, as I look here, it's 2 a.m. somewhere. And my name is Bryan Anthony Davis. It's time for Tales from 2 a.m. It's to get in touch with memories of your Steeler fandom. That's what Tales. Somebody that shares a lot of memories with me is Tony Defio. Even though we didn't grow up together, we grew up at the same time. And Tony, are you ready to get in touch with your 2 a.m. side?
I'm ready. I have 2 a.m. hair. That's why I'm wearing this hat. So.
Sorry, my microphone went out. And as you can see that, thanks for the letting me know, Tony. I appreciate it. You know, when it's you never see me in a hat, but when you see Dave Schofield, he's always wearing a hat on a show.
Right.
So it's great to have you here. The title is Beware the Ides of Merch. Actually, beware the lines of merch. Tony, what's that mean to you?
It means favorite merchandise from the past that we've collected, right? Steeler stuff, pirate stuff. It's like this hat here.
Yeah, you got the 21. You got the Clemente. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I got it at a game 15 years ago that was rained out. We left after the first inning, but it was like 6 hours later. So,
and I've got something really interesting to talk about with that as well. That I got at a game and it ended up being a complete jinx, and we're going to talk about that. Then what I'm going to do is we're going to open it up in the second half. I want to hear from you and your favorite merch. I'm talking about favorite things. I've got to bring something up. And somebody in the live chat who has never really been in the live chat before, but I got to pull them up. Look at that. My 13-year-old Connor Davis.
Wow.
Saying, hi, Dad. Checking out my show this morning. I love it. My buddy.
Hello, Connor.
Go ahead.
When I was 13, we didn't have live chats. We didn't even have food or houses. You're so lucky. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to rant.
So Connor Davis, when he was born, I know I've said this on the show, and his sister Jillian, when they were born, within 5 minutes, 10 minutes of their life, they were draped in terrible towels. Right away, there was a terrible towel on them. So it was they learned the right way. Are they huge Steeler fans? No. Do they talk a lot of smack? Yes. So if we live in Maryland, they see black and purple, they're talking smack. So
I believe since you did that, that automatically allows them to come into Pennsylvania anytime they want the rest of their lives. If they were draped in terrible towels, then they're good for the rest of their lives. They have jurisdiction. They can come in here.
Well, since I'm born in Pennsylvania, does that mean that they are a Pennsylvania citizen? Or do they have to be born in Pennsylvania?
They would have to be born, but the towel thing, that wipes all that out. They're good now.
True story, like he remembers it. They had this little bib that it said like it was gold. It said the terrible bib or something like that. Or no, it actually had one that said Myron's original terrible towel, and it was a bib. Both of them wore that, so that was great. And when he was born, also, Daniel Noriega is saying, "Too early, bad, too early." I'm sorry, Daniel. I apologize, but wow, you are a real fan for being here. Because if you're saying too early, it might be 6 a.m. where you're at. So that's awesome. Or if you're in Hawaii, what is it, like 1 a.m.?
Yeah.
Or no, it's like 3 a.m. It's I think we're 5 hours difference in Hawaii. It just depends what time of year it is. But so Connor was born, and I'm going to the car. I had to go home to get some stuff for my wife. And I'm walking past a the gift shop at the hospital. And I look in the hospital, and we're in Maryland. Remember that. There's a lot of Steeler fans. And I look, and there's this little stuffed guy. It's not a Steely McBeam, because Steely McBeam was still a year away from his inception when Connor was born. This was 2007. And I look, and it's just this little, cute little happy like guy wearing blue overalls and a yellow hat. Well, I'm sorry, a gold hat. And the Steeler hypocycloids, the logo right in the middle. And so Connor called him Steely Guy. So, and he still has Steely Guy to this day. So there's Steeler merchandise everywhere. You know, from the time you're a kid, if you're a Steeler fan, you have some sort of Steeler merchandise. Penguins, Pirates too. I even have a Pittsburgh Maulers t-shirt that I have from their inaugural season.
Oh.
So I still have that shirt. It does not fit me because I was 80 pounds when I was 12 or 13. I was a little dude. I didn't blow up until later. So I was a tiny guy. So here's the thing. We talk about pop culture a lot. And I love to talk Star Wars. I know Dave Schofield loves to talk Star Wars too. Oh, check this out. Hey, you want to meet Connor?
Hi.
So Connor is bringing me. This is his picture book and baby book, and
That's Steely Guy.
we'll try to bring it up here if you can see it. There's Steely Guy,
Wow, look at that.
and there's
This
Connor.
seems rehearsed. Was this rehearsed?
Absolutely not. He had no clue. I had no idea that he was going to be on the show. Thanks, Connor.
I think he has a future in show business. That's pretty good timing.
He's got. See, here's the thing. My wife does not believe this, but there's something called the show-off gene that I've created this in my own mind. And if you're born a Davis, you've got the show-off gene. You love to show off. And now Connor didn't talk until he was 3. I didn't talk until I was 3.5, if you believe that. Didn't talk at all. And now I won't shut up. He won't shut up either. So all my kids like to perform. They love to do that kind of thing. Yeah, we're show-offs. And so he has never come on one of my shows before. My daughter, who is a little more shy, she has no she'll show off for people she knows, but she came on the show and she was really frightened, but she came on, and I'll never forget because it was right before the playoffs last year, and I was showing pictures of the quarterbacks that were in the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship game, and we're like, all right, let's look at these players. What do you think? Who's going to win based on what these guys look like? Because she's all into fashion and hairstyles. And I'll never forget, she called Patrick Mahomes Noodle Head. So because noodle hair, because his hair was
Right.
all noodly in the one picture. And now every time she sees him on a commercial or during the Super Bowl, she's cheering for noodle hair. So
she actually prefers noodle hair. That's okay.
yes. So
okay.
I guess she knows Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, hey, it's a start. She knows somebody. And then when he was in a commercial with Troy Polamalu about hair of all things, I'm like, that's who you cheer for right there. That's, my friends, that's a legend. So,
yeah, it is a legend. Going into the Hall of Fame in a few months.
So I was telling you about Star Wars. And I don't know if you know this, Tony, but studios didn't want anything to do with Star Wars back in 1975, 76, before it came out in 77. They thought it was this dumb space movie. Wanted nothing to do with it. Finally, a studio decided to go with it. And George Lucas, brilliant George Lucas, one of the best business moves of all time, said, all right, I want 10% of the merchandise. Or it might have been even more. They're like, yeah, we'll give you that. So they gave him more merchandising than points for the movie. So what happens, he turns around and he made a mint. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing. And here's the thing, that first year when Kenner came out with the Star Wars toys, the Star Wars action figures, excuse me. And keep in mind, I'm saying Kenner. So when Kenner came out with them, and Kenner they weren't very big at all at that time, but they came out with these action figures. And you couldn't even get them for Christmas. Kids were opening up a box with a coupon saying you're going to get your toys in March.
Wow.
Because they couldn't manufacture them at all. I mean, because there was so much of a demand. So everyone still now, that movie's been out forever. Everybody's has something with Star Wars on it if they're a fan of the movie.
Right.
And everybody, if you're a Steeler fan, you have something. I mentioned Kenner. One of my favorite things, it came when I was in high school, but I still had a few of them, were starting lineup figures. Do you remember starting lineup?
Yes. Yes, that's good stuff.
I had, did you have any?
No, I didn't I didn't have, but I remember seeing the commercials and seeing other kids with them.
They were hard to find because now where you can, if you want to get something, you're getting it offline or whatever. But we talked about this on the show last week. We talked about Hills Department Store.
Oh,
and you'd go into Hills and you'd go into places like that looking for a Steeler player, and you weren't going to find them. I mean, Toys R Us. I mean, you weren't going to find anything at all. But I came up Value City. I found Lewis Lips.
whew.
And that was my starting lineup figure. Then as I got older, I started collecting some of the old ones. I have a Sid Bream.
Oh, wow.
And I think I have a Jeff King as well for the Pirates. But that's a lot of people have some unique toys, the Steelers. What was your first Steeler toy or Steeler piece of merchandise?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. I think it was a toss-up. I remember right after I became a fan in 1980, like 79. You know, when they won their last Super Bowl of that era. I remember always wearing a toss-up cap, even I think it was in the summertime too. That was my. It was. I think I don't know if I have one similar floating around. I think I do. Whatever. You know, with like the ball on the top and obviously the logo, and you can fold it up like that. Yeah, that was my first. That's the first thing I remember owning as a Steeler fan as a young kid. Is a toss-up cap, and I had it for years.
Now, toy wise, did you have anything toy wise?
I didn't really have any toys. Just figurines. You know, like I had gosh, who was the guy? I think it was Gary Anderson. I had a Gary Anderson figurine. And I had for some reason I had Green Bay Packers and 49ers stuff. I don't know why, but I don't remember many Steeler toys. I collected the baseball or the cards, and I loved the sticker books.
I love the sticker books too. Now Connor came back in, and he knows the rules. He's not allowed in here when I'm on a show, but when because he'll just come in sometimes and say, "Hey, Dad, can we get Wingstop?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm on a show," but he's allowed in now because he wanted to bring this in. And we did jerseys last week. And do you remember you would get the Sears catalog or the J.C. Penney catalog, and they had all the different ones in the back of the book. Right. And I remember that was my early Franco Harris. My first one was Jack Ham. So, and we talked about jerseys last week. But as far as toys go, there's something that you're forgetting. Because if you were at the supermarket or if you were at Hills Department Store or a Kmart and you had 25 cents and you're walking out and you had
I know what you mean now.
You had those machines.
I didn't categorize that as a toy, but okay, now then definitely, yeah.
I called them toys. I mean, because I played with them.
Right.
Those little helmets, and they had the stickers on them, and you would always, I would always get nervous and try to like peel the sticker off, but the face masks. You had to clip the face masks on the side,
right?
And then the dog would chew one of the face masks. But I tried to collect them, and you always seem to get like a Chicago Bears, and you had 17 Chicago Bears, and you're like, I don't want a Chicago Bears.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I didn't know we were gonna. I have them. I'm gonna go find it. I'll be right back.
That is awesome.
There were no rules at 2 a.m. right?
No, there's no rules. And
okay, I'll be right back then.
I'm gonna do a 2 a.m. story now. I'm gonna talk about my underwear.
All right,
so this is a good time for you to check out. So, anyways, while he's doing that, I promise it's gonna be a clean underwear story, but you'll love this. Dallas Quinley, though, I gotta bring this up. If Chewbacca played football, I'd see him as a left tackle. That is awesome. Now, Daredevil thinks Chewie would be an elite tight end. So we have this little debate. Hold them still. Hold them still. So, okay, so those are the newer ones. That's cool because like the older ones had the face masks that were just like the single Terry Bradshaw, like the single face mask.
Wow.
So I actually have all of the helmets now because I've collected them. But there's a little debate right now whether Chewie would be an elite tight end or a left tackle. So where would you put Chewbacca if he signed with the Steelers?
Oh, I mean, he had to keep up with Han Solo and save Princess Leia and all that stuff. He would definitely be a tight. He was really agile. He would be a tight end. There's no doubt about it. He would be a mismatch, a matchup problem.
You think Chewie could play both ways? Because I'd love to see him as a defensive end too.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely has position flexibility. I mean, he proved that throughout all the Star Wars movie canon. He can do it. He can do it all. He can fly a ship. Anything you want.
Chewie's versatile. I mean, I could see Chewie blocking field goals and stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, who would call a penalty on him if he used a line if he gained leverage by jumping over somebody? He wouldn't even get a penalty for that.
Yeah. Can you see it now? Let the Wookiee win. First down. We do need to get serious here a second, and I do want to bring this up. Thaddeus Kennedy. Everyone say a prayer for Ryan Switzer's son.
What happened with his son?
So Ryan's 9-month-old son woke up in, I guess he woke up in his own blood, and he is tested positive for COVID-19.
Oh my God!
That's something that Ryan put out yesterday, asking for prayers for his son. So let's please say a prayer for his young son. I remember when he was born, Michael Beck had an article on the show. I mean, on the website as well. So that's something that we do need to put all of our prayers out to the Switzer family. That's something that we will be praying. Every parent's nightmare every time they check that. Every parent worries every time they check that crib. So we're praying that he will be okay. But once again, here it is right here. He's 9 months old, and he, like I said, he did wake up. The doctors are still trying to find the source of the bleeding, but Christian Switzer is his name. And the last tweet from Ryan was just was at 3:10 p.m. yesterday. They're still looking for the source of it. Only one parent is allowed in the room, so his wife is with him, and they're praying that he avoids surgery. They also made them aware that he needs a blood transfusion. So they're looking at some things there. So once again, can't say it enough. Prayers to the Switzer family.
Absolutely.
So we got yelled at also in the live chat by my our great friend Big Brosco. You were talking Star Wars without Dave. He will be upset. So I'm going to throw a challenge out there to Big Brosco. Throw a hat on. Get on in here if you want to. Come on in. We will we'll have one Schofield talking, and I'm sure that you remember some of these 70s and 80s toys that we're talking about too. So Big Brosco, get on in here if you wish. There's a place for you. with Tony and Bryan. With that said, we're going to talk more about merch, and I've got a funny story. Yes, it is about. Tony's getting excited.
I remembered. It wasn't a Steeler. Well, I'll tell you in the second half.
All right. So, yes, we are going to talk about my underwear when I was in 4th grade and how it got me in trouble at Rachel Hill Elementary School in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And it had a lot to do with the Steelers. So we are going to do that. You don't want to miss that. So you've got to come back for the second half just for that. So what I'm going to say is if you are on YouTube, if you are on Facebook, you just stick around. We're going to take a big stretch. And if you are checking us out on any of our family of podcasts, what we want you to do is just switch on over to number 2. It is simple as that. Just a click. And I want everybody in the live chat to make sure that they bother Big Brosco enough that he comes in on this show in the next couple of minutes. We're going to be hoping that Big Brosco will be on the show in just a few. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Tales from 2 a.m. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis. Alongside me is Tony Defio, and it looks like in just a few, we see it right here. Kyle Schofield says he's coming. We're going to have Big Brosco on the show as well. Yeah, this is a lot of fun here. This is what we do. This is what Tales from 2 a.m. is all about. It's about crazy stories. It's about stories of your Steelers fandom. And that's it. Because we are going to have Steelers information all the time on this website, on the podcast platform. But it's fun to get to the human side of it. And a lot of people remember this stuff growing up. So what I want you to do is if you are remembering some of the stuff that you had growing up or your first Steeler merchandise or the most important thing for you when you were a Steeler fan growing up. We talked about jerseys last week. Please let us know. Let us know in the live chat. This is all about you as well. So please join in. Tony, one of my first memories is and I've talked about this story a lot. My parents went to Super Bowl 14 and they went without me. And I told you about how Terry Bradshaw yelled at me. He yelled at me for saying that I was mad at my dad for not taking me. And he was like, his exact words were, "Hell, son, I wouldn't have taken you either." Exact words. That was just 3 years ago.
Right.
And look at this. Look at this. You knew he was going to be wearing a hat. We're 3 hat guys.
Woo!
What is up, BBS?
You didn't want to see what my hair looked like this morning. That's why the hat's on.
Well, you've never seen me in a hat, I'm sure. And my hair wasn't looking good either. So, I mean, we figured no. But thanks for coming on the show. Yeah, Dave's going to be upset that we're talking Chewbacca. And we got to ask you this question. Where are you putting Chewbacca if he's playing for the Steelers?
Chewy?
Yeah. The debate was tight end or left tackle. This came from the live chat.
If we played a 4-3, he'd be a defensive end.
See, I told you I'd have him as defensive end.
That's very analytical.
So yeah, he's a 4-3 defensive end in my book.
Yeah, but a lot of people wanted to put him at tight end. But
yeah,
how good do you think Chewy's hands would be? And I don't think Chewy would run good routes. Yeah,
with all the fur, you're right. Yeah.
His route running couldn't be precise, though. Do you think?
I don't know. He'd have that kind of long, loping gait, so he'd move well that way. But I don't know how he'd be in and out of cuts.
I mean, he would be an amazing left tackle, though. Too, somebody said.
With the height and the arm reach, probably he'd be pretty good left tackle as well.
Yeah, and I was telling Tony that the referees, instead of giving them a penalty, they would just say, "Let the Wookiee win." Thaddeus Kennedy wants to put Chewy's as a center. And, there's an opening, so maybe we can get Chewy.
He's
What
too
is
tall.
Chewy? Somebody in the live chat tell me this. What is his height? Is he like 8? Is he considered like over 8 feet? I'm not sure.
Oh, see, this is where you need Dave. He probably knows exactly
Oh yeah,
the quarter inch how tall he is.
Dave's been on so many shows this week though. He is considered 7'3". Well, that's Peter Mayhew. I'm sorry, was 7'3". May he rest in peace. So, but I'm not sure. I think he might have had lifts too, but they're counting the actor was 7'3". So I thought he was considered a little taller than that. But so yeah, we'll go with 7'3" on that. Wasn't the Big Show or Andre the Giant like 7'4"?
Yeah. The Big Show definitely. I think Andre the Giant was a little taller than that. Or
Okay,
maybe the Big Show was shorter.
So Jared Devil, Steven, and Connor are saying 7'5". So they've looked it up for me. That's great. See, this is what Tales from 2 a.m. is all about. If you want real Steeler talk,
we need to know how tall the Wookiee is to decide if he can play center.
Exactly. Now, but what this show, Rich, is about, it's about Steeler merchandise. That's why it's beware the lines of merch.
Mm-hmm.
And we gotta go with a Julius Caesar and do some do a takeoff of the Ides of March. That's what I was doing this morning. It was beware the ideas of merch, and I'm like, okay, that doesn't work. And then beware the I had all these different ideas for beware and merch, and then I came up with lines right before I started typing. So I'm excited about that. And I'm sure you've had some merchandise as a kid. There's something behind you, toyish. What do you have right behind you?
Oh, right there. That actually was that would have come out. My daughter's 18. She would have been about 4 or 5 when they re-released this idea. This was the Super Jock field goal kicker. Slamming on the head. Well, I had the blue one as a kid. And actually, I still have one of the baseball Super Jocks up here. I started with basketball as a kid and ended up with all 3. They redid them a few years back, and they did this one in black and gold with the number 3. So, and at the time, Jeff Reed was wearing number 3 and had to have the Super Jock kicker.
That is pretty awesome. Thaddeus Kennedy says Giant Eagle had a bunch of coins of the Steelers you could collect in 1995 of the Steelers defense. I still have all 8. I only had a couple of those. I was only able to get a few. I do remember those because that was a Super Bowl year as well. And Eaton Park, if you remember, Eaton Park had the glasses.
Oh, that's right. I remember those.
And I have those. I have the Mario Lemieux ones. But I have the Steeler ones as well. So I love to collect all that kind of stuff. He has those?
Yeah, he has those. And you remember maybe you don't remember because you're from Maryland, but it was either the Post-Gazette or the Press back in the early 80s. They came out with a bunch of cartoon caricatures of all the Steelers. Like I remember seeing John Stallworth and Donnie Shell and Jack Lambert. And he still has a bunch of that stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. Where it's like the big head, like their character, So so I remember that from when I was a kid. He
still has those. Wow, those are great.
I believe he does. Yeah.
I've purchased some stuff on eBay too. I remember, was it Arby's that had some Steeler glasses that were really cool? Then I ended up getting them. They were for the 75th anniversary in 1982, or no, the 50th in 1982. I'm sorry. I remember getting those as well, collecting those glasses from, I believe it was Arby's. So I have a bunch of stuff that's put away right now. Real quick, what are you drinking, big bro? That
would be the Coca-Cola coffee.
I just discovered it 2 weeks ago, and I crushed the can. I had one last night. I had one this morning. Are you drinking the caramel?
No, I'm drinking the dark blend.
I have not. That's the only one I haven't had. The dark blend. I love the caramel.
I've
And
decided the dark blend is my favorite. It has the most coffee flavor to it. Mixes well with the Coca-Cola.
So Connor is my research guy. He just brought in some pictures of the Arby's 50th season.
Wow, look at this kid.
Look at that! You got somebody that's like snagging the stuff for you.
Yeah, and I have. I have that
I wish
stuff.
my
downstairs.
son would do stuff like that. He just gave me the look on the other
Look
side.
at that. That's great.
So
Those
Kyle,
are fantastic.
I got to tell Kyle this. It's now #pay Connor.
There, it's now #pay Connor, not pay Kyle anymore.
I tell you what we could do. That could be he could lead it. Kyle could lead the show. It could be Kyle, Connor, and my nephew Noah, and we could have a BTSC junior show.
There you go.
That could be the next thing. Big Bro, do you remember starting lineup?
Yes.
Did you have any of those?
I did not.
My first one was a Lewis Lips. I did have a John Elway too, but Lewis Lips was my guy, and I had a Louis Lips, and I lost the helmet for a while, and then I ended up finding it because those helmets were tiny. But I have a few of those that I bought as an adult. I took them out of the packaging because I wanted them. Well, one because they got damaged in a flood, but I took them out of the packaging, and I had them all displayed. And after the flood, I've taken everything down, and I'm redoing the basement. So when I get that back up, I'll show you Steeler Central downstairs. I'll show you some pictures. But I had a lot of that stuff. Now, I know that you woke up early on a Sunday to talk about my underwear, Big Brosco. So. Sure. So
Tales from 2 a.m. I guess. What? Oh,
absolutely. So let's go back to 1979. I'm in third grade.
4-year-old.
And I'm was I in third grade in 79? Yeah. Or it might have been 70. Might have been 80, something like that. I'm going to be 50 this year. So, which there's going to be a huge celebration in Maryland, so everybody's got to get there. Tony, you've got to make the trip in December. We're gonna have a biggie. But what I'm saying here is my parents got me this. This was right at the time when underoos were coming out, and I had the original underoos were awesome because the original underoos looked like the superheroes. The superhero, what do they call them? Costumes. I don't want to call them costumes or this uniform or outfits. So, and I had Robin, and I still have the Robin t-shirt. I don't know what happened to the green underwear, but it was awesome. I mean, I thought that stuff was so cool. And my parents got me that. And I guess Underoos came out with a line of of NFL too. And it was just, I remember these, they were white. They had the black band and the black edging, and they had the Steeler logo on the side. And I was so proud of my Steelers Underoos, and I wasn't wearing the t-shirt, I guess, at the time. And I remember being in the lunchroom at Rachel Hill Elementary School in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And I was sitting there with 3 girls. I could tell you their names. It was Kim. Everybody was named Kim in the in the 70s. There was Kim, and Amy. And I remember Kim, and Amy. And I was telling them about my Steeler underwear. Like, you don't have Steeler underwear. Nobody has Steeler underwear. I'm like, yeah, I have Steeler underwear. They're like, let's see it. I'm like, so I stand up. I just pull the pants down slightly to show my underwear. Mrs. Johnson comes by. Mrs. Johnson like grabs me and shames me like I'm a pervert, like I'm the worst kid ever. And I never told my parents because I was so embarrassed. I thought I was this terrible person because I was just showing my underwear. But I didn't really think that. Gosh, if I would have not been able to hand out Halloween candy that year in third grade, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't let me hand out cupcakes. Because everybody handed out cupcakes, and of course my cupcakes had the Steelers on it, by the way. But I got in so much trouble, but they didn't call my parents, and so my dad, who's probably watching the phone, it probably knows now too. Like Connor's saying, never heard that one before. Yeah, there's some story. I don't tell every story. I gotta save some. And I guess I'm getting chastised because you said fourth grade earlier, Dad. Yeah, yeah, I did, but it was actually third grade. So yeah, so live chat. Am I okay? Am I okay now? Should I mean, I don't know what happened with Mrs. Johnson. I hope she's doing well. But do you think Mrs. Johnson was too tough on me? Because I was excited about my fandom for the Steelers. And like I said, this was 79. You can't, you got to show that stuff off, right?
Right. Yes. It was a different time back then. You were allowed to show your underwear more back then. Not today.
Say, yeah, you'd be fine today, but in 1979, you were lucky you weren't suspended from school, probably.
Well, I would think it would be different. My dad talks about when he went to the Super Bowl in Pasadena, they had a streaker at that game. There was actually a streaker there. I think he had like a terrible towel and nothing else, which, there you go. Thaddeus said, bad. There's 9 coins labeled 95 Super Steelers. Mel Blount, Green, Lambert, Lloyd, Bam Morris, Rod Woodson, and a gold coin of Cower. I remember some of those.
How about Blount getting there?
Well, yeah, they had Joe Green in there too, so I guess they had some classics.
Okay.
Reginald Rivers says, bad. I'm 55, and I've been a Steeler fan for 48 years. That's awesome. Is it Lynn Swan's birthday today? It's Lynn Swan and the Italian Stallion. So Sylvester Stallone's birthday and Lynn Swan. Happy birthday, guys. That's there you go. Bad, you're going to be grounded by Bill Davis. I gotta tell you, Bill Davis loves my 2 a.m. stories now. I mean, I think he lives vicariously through the stuff that I would do back then. But I guess maybe that was the start of my 2 a.m. ship. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So this was the ultimate. Speaking of Bill Davis, and I'm gonna make him feel bad because he dashed my hopes and dreams one year, and he doesn't even know he did it. For my birthday, the one thing that I wanted more than anything was electronic football. But not electric football. I wanted electric football more than anything.
The handheld or?
No. Oh, I had that. But I wanted the little guys on the magnetic field. You turn it on, they rumble, and he got it for me. And those weren't cheap back then. And I remember I got it for my birthday. It was the Cowboys and the Steelers. And he's like, I turned it on. He's like, yeah, this thing doesn't work. I'll take it back and get another one. Took it back. He's like, yeah, this one doesn't work either. I'm trying to say, Dad, that's what it does. But I never really had electric football because they kept on taking it back because it didn't work. And that's all it really did. Probably.
You guys remember?
What's that?
You guys remember a board game with cards? I remember having it as a kid, like in the early to mid '80s. Like you picked a card and it said 10 yards, and it's like the players were like Johnny Unitas and all this. So I don't know. It might have been 20 years old when I had it as a kid. I don't know if you guys remember that game. It was like a board game where a football field folded out like a Monopoly board, and then you just had cards, and I just thought of that now when you mentioned the electric football game, and thinking about Johnny Unitas being like the star of this game. It must have been pretty old when I had it.
Yeah, I don't remember that game.
I don't remember that one either.
But yeah, electric football I never got to have that because they thought it didn't work, and that's how bad that game was.
Yep.
We didn't have, that was our Madden. We didn't have Madden. We had to just like see if they'd rumble on a field, and that would be it. But Tony's talking about the handheld. Did you guys have the handheld at all? The Coleco?
Oh, I did.
And I used to pretend those little dots were Steelers. I would call the games in my head. Hey, I was corrected. It was Franco. Franco's birthday is today. So Franco and Lynn Swan, two greats on the same day. How about that? So I got to tell you, we're talking about this stuff. We just mentioned Franco. One of the coolest gifts I ever got was for my wedding. And for my wedding, I got from my buddy Matt Holland, one of my best friends, college roommate, Pittsburgh guy, got me this football signed by Franco Harris. And I don't think Franco wanted to sign as much as he did, but I have this football that says, "To Bryan and Jennifer, congratulations on your wedding, Franco Harris." A signed Franco Harris wedding ball. So that's one of my proud Steeler merch, and I didn't purchase it. But have you ever seen, what's the weirdest Steelers merchandise you've ever seen?
I have one right here. It's self-made. It's from supposedly signed by the 1994 Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that lost to the Chargers in the championship game. My aunt gave it to me for my birthday, maybe 5-6 years ago. It was deflated when she gave it to me, but I can't make out any of the names on any of the signatures. So it might have been them, or it might have been some guys from a bar. Maybe it was a practice squad guys. That's the weirdest merchandise I've ever seen.
Tony, take pictures of that. I bet you I can decipher them.
Okay.
I bet you some of those I can figure out. I'd be glad to tell you that. My parents, and I had a buddy that he was in high school. He told his mom that he liked John. Wow, that's
sorry about that.
That's a fun ringtone. What you need is the Steeler polka as your ringtone. I think that's what I've got to try to get. That's either that or Here We Go is my ringtone. But he told his mom he liked John F. Kennedy, so she bought him a bunch of John F. Kennedy stuff. So everybody I know buys me Steeler stuff. And my parents, well, actually, it was my mom and sister. They were going to craft shows at the time. And they bought me from a craft show a Steelers fly swatter, like crocheted Steelers fly swatter.
Wow.
One of the craziest things I've ever gotten. And that we ended up passing that around for gifts for years. I don't even know what happened to it. I think I might have it back, but all my friends had a run at the fly swatter at one point because every birthday it would be wrapped up. Steel Trap t-shirt, Giant Eagle had out in 95. Still have the t-shirt. That's really cool. I had all of that stuff. I can't remember anything crazier than that, but the electric football was the thing, man. And I never got a chance to realize it. I'd like to get it now, but then it would just sit there because I would never play with it. So, but I thought that was cool. Now they have the Funko Pops, which I collect Funko Pops, but I don't really collect Steelers Funko Pops because I have the Die Hard ones and I've got like Prince and stuff like that. So a lot of people found it offensive on Christmas Day because everybody talks about Die Hard being a Christmas movie. So I decided to add my Funko Pops of Hans Gruber, Al Powell, the cop with the Twinkies, and John McClane in with the manger scene. And I sent it out on Facebook as a Merry Christmas to everybody, and I offended some people. So,
Oh, wow.
but so maybe this year I'll do it with Steelers starting lineup guys. And I got to throw in Jeff King and Sid Bream too, because those are pretty cool. I've got the Joe Green and Sid Bream.
My sisters used to babysit Jeff King's kids back when he was a Pirate. They went to the same church.
That is awesome. You know what? Every time I went to a game, I didn't go all the time, but I went a lot. He seemed to homer every time I'd go to a game. So I absolutely love it. Anybody, Asiatic Noble says this, you can download them ringtones for free off of Livewire. So you know what? I mean, maybe we could get the Steeler polka. That'd be awesome. I need to do that. Thaddeus had a Steelers trapper keeper for 3rd grade.
Yes,
Man,
I had a Steeler trapper keeper.
If you had a trapper keeper, man, that was cool. I don't think I had a trapper keeper. I had the book covers. I had the NFL book covers, and then when that, or the NFL notebook, and I had the NFL lunchbox. I remember having that. Doc Holliday says this: everybody buys me Steelers stuff. It's good, but may show lack of originality on their part if they don't care to put more thought into it.
Yep, I know
It's
exactly what
easy.
you mean. Yeah.
That's easy. We had Steve Irwin protecting baby Jesus this past Christmas.
Yeah, see, maybe bring my Steve Irwin action figure home from work so that he could protect. Last year it was Batman.
Well,
Kyle does those things just to aggravate his sister.
that's what we have in our house too.
That's his job. He has to aggravate his
Right.
sister.
Connor does that well, and I aggravated the heck out of my sister, and I still feel bad about it. I would do crazy stuff like that, but I'm going to have to be more creative with the manger scene this year. Maybe I'll have the Steelers offensive line.
Here was our Steve Irwin. The bad part is he used to talk. I could probably get him to talk again if I replaced the battery in him, maybe. But yes, we had Steve Irwin protecting the manger scene this year.
That's oh man. Asiatic Noble. I had a Steelers onesie and the Steeler baby booties that had flashing lights. That is really awesome. That is really cool. I was talking about that Super Bowl that my parents went to. I still have it. It's down next to my bed. I have a visor that has the Rams and the Steelers helmets on it. And it's a visor from Super Bowl 14. And I still wear that.
Very nice.
I've worn it to games.
I love that Super Bowl. I just love that story of both. Obviously, the Steelers were on their last leg, kind of, but I like the Rams story too, of how they overcame so much adversity that year with their owner dying and all the injuries, and they came up short so many times in the 70s, and then they finally made it in 79. So I love that story, that Super Bowl.
And they were 9-7, and then you had Vince Ferragamo there. Yeah, that was a really interesting story. That's a team most Steeler fans would have rooted for. Just like we talk about the Cardinals, you would have rooted for the Cardinals in 2008 if the Steelers weren't in it. And the Rams were a team you would have rooted for as well. So I told that story, and I know I've told you the story before, but yeah, I kind of didn't want them to go to that Super Bowl because I was afraid that the plane would crash and something would happen to my parents, and I wanted to go to the game. And that was the joke that we told Terry Bradshaw that story, and that's when the famous "Hell, son, I wouldn't have taken you later either." That's where that line came from. So that's awesome. So anybody else have any cool merchandise, hypocyclotic merchandise to talk about? But you know what? We forgot the most important thing, guys. The most important piece of Steeler merchandise that every true Steeler fan has got to have. Turn around, big bro. Do you have one there?
Oh, wait. I got to go the other way. What, a terrible towel?
Yep. Everybody's got to have a terrible towel.
Oh, there are so many different ones in our house. So that's the one with the American flag. Of course, Kyle's got the Renegade terrible towel.
Your brother bought me the Renegade one.
Yep.
That's an original. Look at that.
In my office,
my mother found it on the street.
In my office hangs the one from Super Bowl 50 or whatever against the Seahawks. I have that one hanging in my office that has the score printed on it and everything.
I have that one, and I have the one from 43 as well. I have the one from that my parents went to from Super Bowl 14 as well. So I have a Super Bowl 14 one that is probably one of my favorite ones that I use all the time. I have my dad got this one and ended up giving it to me. It was the there's a tribute to Myron terrible towel.
Oh,
So I have that one that I just got recently when he was when my parents were moving. Evgeny Crosby said, I had the Eric Green triple beam as a kid. I don't know what that is. What's a triple beam?
I don't know.
That's interesting. Terry Bradshaw said he wanted to retire after that 80s Super Bowl, but couldn't afford to. Now, when my dad mentioned that he was at Super Bowl 14, that's how this whole thing started to Terry Bradshaw. He actually went like this. He goes, man, that was a tough one. He's like, we won, but that was a tough one. So yeah, I could believe him wanting to retire. Thaddeus Kennedy, anyone read the article? Terry Bradshaw used the name Tom Brady as his alias when he was in the hospital in 1983. That's true.
That is true.
I think that's hilarious. On Cheers, I'm a big Cheers fan. I talk about Cheers a lot on this show. And my favorite, and I use this as an alias, but when Sam Malone was in the hospital, he got shot in the butt because he disarmed one of his girlfriend's husband's gun, and he put the gun in his back pocket and shot himself in the butt. And he in the hospital, he used the name Lance Mannion, and I always thought that was funny. So if I need an alias, I use Lance Mannion. What was AB's alias? Ronald Ocean? Was it something like that?
Ronald Ocean. Yeah, Ronald Ocean.
I think that stuff's hilarious. Lee Tate, we have a living room dedicated to the Steelers. I made my wife a 4-foot lighthouse themed Steelers. That is really, we need to see a picture of that, Lee Tate. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
It's so much fun. Here's the thing. It's always family first, but there's always room at the table for the Steelers. And it's fun to have that stuff. And really fun to enjoy. I'm sure I'm going to get off of the show and think of all the things that I forgot to mention. Because like I said, family members, they think of some stuff. One of the first gifts I ever gave to my wife, and my wife, we used to work at the Disney store, but before that, she has always been a huge fan of Mickey Mouse. And her engagement ring was even shaped in mouse ears. I had it made to be shaped like mouse ears. And so the first gift I ever had given her, when we just started dating, I gave her what I loved and what she loved, and it was a Mickey Mouse bobblehead. And he's wearing a Steeler helmet and a Steeler jersey.
There you go.
So and when she loved it, I'm like, all right, I think we're on our way to she being the one. And then we went to a game on January 1st, 2006, where they got into the playoffs because of that game. Was Jerome Bettis' last game, and I knew she was definitely the one for me there. So it was great talking about Steeler merchandise with everybody. I love it, and I love that everybody in the live chat has some stories of some of the stuff that they like to collect and that they've had or they remember as a kid. So that's a lot of fun. This is what this show is about. Oh, wow. Evgeny Crosby, I've got the Bam Morris pipe and slippers too. Oh, okay.
Well, you had to put up what he said before, where he told you what your triple beam was. There you go.
Okay. Yeah,
Tales from 2 a.m. You might as well throw it up there.
Oh, okay. So I did not. That's how naive I am. I guess I'm thick. I didn't realize that that was unlicensed merchandise.
Yeah.
Gosh, if you're gonna put that stuff up, Evgeny, you've got to put up a super chat for that. You've got to give me money to say those things.
Right.
So you owe me a super chat, EC. I do not have a Mickey Mouse costume. So that we don't get into weird cosplay. I'll just tell you that. But anyways, hey, thanks so much for hanging out with us. I appreciate it. It was great talking about Steeler merch. It's great talking about terrible towels and even electric football. But we threw in some Chewy scenarios. I think next week's show, what we can do is I'll see if I can get Dave Schofield on. And what we'll do is we'll try to have an entire starting lineup of Star Wars characters for the Steelers. That's what we'll do next. I'm not going to promise it, but
No,
he
but
would spend the
you
whole week
have to-
researching it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to have Dave on that show because
Yeah.
he's going to.
Oh,
Knock
he would
that
have
one.
graphs, and he would have. I mean, there would be artist composites of Han Solo playing quarterback. Is Han Solo your quarterback, or is he your safety? That's what I want to know. Oh, Evgeny Crosby. I was kidding, but thank you, man. We got a super chat from EC. Evgeny Crosby, we love you, man. Thank you so much. I was joking, but we will apply that to my Steelers Chewy jersey that I'm going to have made. I'll have a Chewbacca one. I actually saw a jersey. I was at a Jacksonville game. I saw a Steeler jersey that had Rambo on the back. I thought that was really cool, unless the guy's name was really Rambo, but that was really cool. Thaddeus wants to do, can we do Game of Thrones Steelers lineup? I only watched that season once, but yeah, we could maybe we just, you know what? Instead of a Star Wars, we could do Star Wars one week, and the next week we could do an all fictional lineup, and that could be a draft. We might do the draft. How about that? It's Tales from 2 a.m. We can get away with some stuff like that in the off season, so that's that'll be in the next couple weeks. What? Oh, Connor. Connor, if you've noticed, Connor was wearing an Office T-shirt. He's got all kinds of Office and Parks and Recreation. He has all that stuff. And my gosh, I introduced him to Austin Powers. Oh, but here he is. Here he is. Yeah, I don't know if I want Dwight as my inside linebacker, but Kyle mentions that Dave's dog is named Skywalker. That's true. My dogs, they passed away, but I had Palomalu and Heinz. Everybody thought my wife was crazy when she'd be yelling, "Heinz Ward, get back here! Heinz Ward!" Like this little dachshund's running, and it's like he was bald like Heinz Ward, so I always said, "Hey, you look like Heinz Ward." There you go. But anyways, it's time to wrap this one up. Thanks so much, guys. We'll work on ideas for a lineup. That's what we'll do. Maybe we'll have a draft, and it could be an all fictional draft. You know, I'm drafting probably as my coach, or one of my guys is going to be Cliff Clavin. He might be in my front office, but John McClane's definitely going to be on that team as well. So there you go. But if we do a draft of fictional characters, it cannot be football fictional characters. It can't be Bobby Boucher. It can't be anything like that. We might do a Star Wars draft, and we might go ahead and do a regular draft too. But Big Bro, thanks for hanging out. Tony, you the same. Appreciate you guys. Check out tomorrow. We're going to be back for the Steelers Hangover. We might be doing a hangover just based on this show on how crazy it was. But check out Let's Ride tomorrow morning. Check out today. You can check out Touchdown Under, which Dave Schofield was on, along with Jeffrey Benedict, with Matty Peverell. We have all kinds of shows every single week. The Scobro shows on Tuesday nights, live on YouTube. We've got all this stuff. And if you haven't checked out the new show, The Curtain Call, the cool thing about The Curtain Call, they talked to a guy from Alabama, from Roll Tide Roll, the other day, about all kinds of Alabama prospects and how they would fit with the Steelers. Who are they going to have this week? They're going to have another guy from another college this week. Not sure who it is yet, but it's something to definitely check out. We have so much content here on BTSC. It's absolutely awesome. So thanks so much for Tony, for Big Bro Sco. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis. We ask you to be safe, be true to yourself, and always be behind the steel curtain. I don't know what time it is on your watch, but it's 2 a.m. somewhere, and we'll check you out later.